Guys, not gonna lie, we got cooked last night. I had the worst night of the entire 2026. 3 months in, the worst night last night. Horrible result. We went 1-4 on the show. Privately, I went 3-7 because I had 10 bets. Horrible night. It happens. It's early March and the NBA is looking like it's early April stuff. Can't do much about it. We need to adapt. We need to find ways to win. And we have a 6-game slate tonight. So let's dive in. But before we dive in, quickly recapping the bets from the last night. As you can see, guys, we lost Gafford on the hook. We won Mark Williams on the hook. So got unlucky and lucky there. We weren't even close on Claxton. But Mobley and Reeves, guys, come on. Mobley 18 points and 5 rebounds. Even though Allen didn't even play much and he ends up with 5 rebounds. He covered this line in 90% of the games when he gets 30 plus minutes. He got 32 last night. Can't do much. And then Austin Reeves got hurt during the game. Shot horrible. Quickly looking at the Reeves. 4 for 15. 15 points. The line closed at 20.5. We bet 18.5. We got it good. If you take a look on the entire season results so far on the show, we are up 17, almost 18 units on 150 bets, and that's 7% ROI. And honestly, guys, that's been my ROI win rate over the last 10 years between 6 and 8%, and we are now to 7%. That should be consistent moving forward as always. So yeah, let's dive into today's slate. First game on the board, Thunder against the Knicks. And looking at the Knicks line, we can see every single player is 2 points lower than in previous games. Last season, when Brunson played against the OKC, he scored 22 and 27. They held him to poor shooting. Both games expected, a rough matchup. Now looking at this season, they are kind of similar, but he didn't play against them yet. When we look at the entire season, obviously he's crushing this line, but 24.5 against the OKC, not something I will bet. Maybe some shooters like Davis Farm, Brunson, so maybe could be a game for OG Anunoby, but I'm not betting the overs against OKC. On the side of the OKC, we have Shea, questionable, probable for this game, and his points line is at 30.5. But if you take on the entire season, take a look on the entire season. If you exclude the overtime games, and he just come back from the injury and didn't play in an overtime, got benched, and he's capped to 34 minutes. So if you take a look at the games when he was playing between, I'd say, 28 to 36 minutes, he's under this line more often than not. He's under in 23 and over in 20 games, averaging 30.7 points in 32 minutes. On average, I would say this is an above average matchup because similar players cover this in 8 out of 12, averaging 20% more points. And I will probably, at the end of this season, or maybe even sooner, exclude Fox from this list because moving to the Spurs, he's now scoring 15, 16 points a game compared to all the rest of the guys who are having huge lines, who are like pull-up shooters, mid-range shooters, and pick-and-roll dominant ball handlers. If we exclude Fox, we can see that Kate scored 29, covered his line. Last game 42. We had the Rosen with 34, Devin Booker 27 and 31. So guys, similar shot profile, pick and roll ball handler profile, like Shea did great against the Knicks. So I would lean over. So many games he had exactly 30. So 10 games when he scored 30 points. So maybe worth doing this 30 plus because he is hunting 30 points games. That's the thing with Shea. Yeah, so 30 plus minus 130 will probably be better than over 30.5 minus 104, just to make it clear. Moving on, could be a decent spot for Jared McCain, but with Shea back, I don't know about his minutes. He's been cooking since he came to the OKC. As we can see, whenever he gets 15 plus minutes, he covered this in every single game with 15 points average. So if you take a look at the games with OKC, and in the games when Shea played, he only played 19 minutes in an overtime game when Shea didn't play the overtime, and last game 22 minutes against the Mavericks. That was a blowout. So, expecting him to play between, I don't know, like 16 to 22 minutes. In those games, he's averaging 8.5 points. But if you take a look at the games with OKC, he's averaging 11.8 points. So, not the greatest. Also, a lot of this came from like 2 from 3 shooting. If he missed one more 3 under. Same thing here against the Cavs. Same thing here against the Denver. So he's hella efficient in those games. If he wasn't that efficient, he will be at 9.5 points average, and then this wouldn't look great. So not much on this one. Let's move to the next game. Hornets against the Celtics. I could see a lean on under Sam Hauser threes because over the last 15 games they allow third least threes and sixth least catch and shoot. So they will stay home. But yeah, not betting unders against the Hornets. I think their defense, while it's good, it's a bit overrated. I think they are not this good. Like they have a 7th best defense. I don't think they are 7th best defense in the NBA. I think they mostly played poor teams during that stretch, so that's affecting the defensive rating. On their side, I don't want to bet anyone against the Boston Celtics. They change their defensive scheme and coverage every single game. Mazzulla is the mastermind, and I don't want to play with it. So moving on to the next game on the board, Jazz against the 76ers. Weird game. Looking at the 76ers, no Embiid, no Paul George. Embiid out, Paul George suspended. Edgecamp, doubtful. Kelly Oubre, questionable. So we could end up being like Tyrese Maxey, Grimes, Barlow, Drummond, Watford. Horrible lineup then. Huge line for Tyrese Maxey. If you take a look on the entire season, he covered this line in 20 games, which is pretty good actually for this high line, 32.5. Especially, let's look at the minutes in the games when he got 32 plus minutes. He's definitely playing more than 32 minutes tonight. He covered this in 35% of the games, averaging 29, almost 30 points. Let's take a look at the games without Embiid, without Edgecomp. 3 games under in all 3. But I will say not the greatest matchups. These teams are good on defense. Much better than Jazz. So let's look at the games without Embiid, without Paul George, and without Kelly Oubre. Then 3 games, still only 27 points. So he's kind of playing worse without Embiid, but now there is no one on the team, so he will need to take a huge usage in this one. Looking at the assists, as he's playing team that's allowing the most assists, I'll see. Then cover this in 43%, averaging 6.7 assists. But I don't know who is he assisting to. Like he's playing with a bunch of scrubs now. Like if Kelly Oubre is out, it's like Dominic Barlow, Andre Drummond, Adam Bona. I don't know. I can't bet on him having assist targeting those guys. So on the other side, we have Keyonte George returning. First game back 23 minutes. Last game 30 minutes. But we don't know. Like he could end up getting benched and play 20 minutes. This game, they were losing. He got 30 minutes because he was insanely hot. Tough to predict one. So honestly, almost every night slate looks like this. We can't predict much of the stuff. A lot of unknown, a lot of tanking, a lot of trash teams. I usually love betting on like scrubs, but it's tough to predict their minutes here because it's a lot of unknown stuff. 4th game on the slate, we have Blazers against the Grizzlies. Jalen Wells' line kind of low considering he played 28 minutes last game. If we look at his volume, since all the injuries, last 3 games, we can see he had 20%, 18%, 22% usage. So when we look at the entire season, when he gets expected minutes, which I would say is definitely 24 to 32, he's averaging 13 points a game right there on the line. But usage has been great lately. So when we look at the games when he has at least 16% usage, he's averaging 14 points. But let's set some range. Like let's set it between 17 and 24% usage. And we can see in those minutes, with that kind of usage, he covered this line in 16 out of 24 games, averaging 14 points a game. And now the matchup is pretty good. Most of his points as a spot up in catches show they are average there, a bit above average in spot up, but horrible in transition, horrible against free throws, and horrible against pick and roll ball handlers, also allowing a ton of from mid range and from pull up where he scores 25% of his points. So not the best, but not the great, not worst matchup. And pace. Let's check how he performs against teams that are not bottom 5 in the pace. Still 14 points average, so nothing much changes. They are average to his position. If you exclude the best one to his position, we can see it goes up to 70% win rate. So definitely lean on Jalen Wells. But if on a better slate, we wouldn't even consider Jalen Wells here. So definitely some lean. This one could be interesting for Donovan Klingan. As I said, everyone is out on the Memphis team. They don't have any bigs, real bigs. So we can see last 2 times he played them, he had 17 and 19 rebounds, big minutes here as well. Points wise, he had 13 and 20 points. Similar usage in both games, just had much lower minutes here. So last game against the Hawks, 31 minutes in a blowout. Weird one. So yeah, that was back to back. So probably Time Lord was out. Yeah, not much here. Moving on to the next game. And the next game is Hawks against the Bucks. And for this one, with Giannis back, we are going to AJ Green over 2.5 threes, minus 108. Pretty much widely available up to minus 110. And here is why I like this one. Because we have Giannis back. And with Giannis back, he is performing much better. And looking at the games with Giannis in on the entire season, we can see that he covered this line in 22 out of 30 games. But some of these games were like a huge blowout against the Boston Celtics in the last game. Only played 18 minutes. And one game where he got, I think, fouled out, or he got 3 fouls in the first quarter. So didn't even return. Almost covered, he had 2 threes in this game. So when we exclude the game, let's set expected minutes. It's saying 22 to 32. I will say 24. I will say probably 22 to up to 34. I will definitely say. And then he covered this similar 74% of the time with Giannis. Let's check with Kevin Porter Jr. and with Ryan Rollins. Still covering 6 out of 9 games, averaging almost 7 attempts, which is more than great for him to cover this line. Also, most of these games were against the teams who are not allowing plenty of threes. Like we have Wolves rank 4, Warriors rank 8, Kings rank 9, Hornets rank 7, Nets rank 2. So most of these matchups were tough, and he still was getting up a ton of threes. If I take a look with Giannis and Rollis in the lineup, he covered this in 14 out of 19. If you exclude, look at favorable matchups, he covered in every single game. Below average, he covered in 7 out of 8. If you exclude just top 10, then he covered in 9 out of 15. But this matchup is, I would say, much different than the other matchups. And he didn't play teams who are top 8 in against threes allowed. He covered this in 11 out of 13. But most important one for me, obviously, head-to-head game against the Hawks. They played the 19th of January. He had 6 threes on 12 attempts. He was the key guy for the Bucks against the Hawks. The thing with Hawks is how they defend Giannis. They just don't let him score. They are protecting the paint, building a wall, and then we can see AJ Green was the one to profit with 12 attempts from 3, huge volume. And if we take a look over the last 10 games, we can see Hawks allow average threes, but they also at the same time allow 10th most above the break threes, and the overall average matchup, I would say. But when they are building the wall for Giannis, then in that case they're allowing a ton of threes, so we need to be aware of that. Also, when we look at the last season when he faced the Hawks with Giannis in the lineup, we can see that he covered in only one game, but over the 3 games he only played 23 minutes. A different team last season, he wasn't getting starter minutes like he is this season, but in 23 minutes he still averaged 8 attempts per game. Now he's going to get like 30 minutes, and that could scale up to like 9 or 10 threes. And earlier this season he had 12 against the Hawks. So it's been a thing against the Hawks. And looking at Giannis against the Hawks, earlier this season he only had 21 points against the Hawks. They kind of contained him, and he had 4 less field goal attempts than their average and 5% lower usage than his average. If you take a look at the last season against the Hawks, obviously he covered this line, but let's look at his closing lines. He stayed under in all 4 games against the Hawks last season because his lines were 32.5, 32.5, 30.5, 31.5, and he stayed under in every single game. Additionally, he covered his 5+ assists in every single game, and over the 4 games he had 13 potential assist average, which is 2 potential assist average more than his season average. So yeah, the thing with Giannis, they're just building the wall, and then role players are in much better spot than Giannis, and we are targeting the best shooter on this team, AJ Green, over 2.5 threes as a one and only official bet tonight. And last game on the board, guys, Pacers against Clippers. For this game, I will definitely be on Kawhi, but last 2 games, 29 minutes. Okay, this was a blowout against the Pelicans, but against the Golden State Warriors, he only lost 2 minutes due to a blowout, so he was on pace to play like 32 minutes. So I don't love the minutes. He's been restricted. Looking at the, let's look at the games since returning from the All-Star break. He's averaging 31 minutes a game. This was a close game against Denver, 33 minutes, 31 minutes close game. So he's on pace to play 32 minutes. So when he gets, I would say like 34 the most, and like 28 to 34, he's averaging 26.7 points over this line in only 10 out of 27 games. Also, he didn't play against the Pacers this season, but they don't tend to double as much, so that's usually a good spot for star players. We can see similar players to him covered in 7 out of 9 games. So yeah, Banchero covered twice, KD covered, Ingram covering well. So I will definitely be on this if I expected him to be playing more minutes. Garland, first game back, only played 23 minutes. I wouldn't expect him to get more than like 26 tonight, so can't do much there. And yeah, on the side of the Pacers, we can see Siakam kind of played 18 minutes, then full 37 minutes, then last game 29 minutes in a close game. No reads there, similar to Nembhard. They are all questionable for this game, so I don't know if they even play. So guys, horrible slate. We have one official bet, hopefully a bounce back from yesterday. The NBA is in a weird spot. Hopefully it improves and we get some better spots moving forward. Can't promise you anything. The only thing I can promise you, I'll do my best every single day to find great bets for you guys and to do a great research for you guys. Thank you for watching and see you tomorrow.